are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation. Totally broadcast on Soul City Network and of course on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And of course, today we're having another experience of getting a checkup from the neck up, bringing information to your soul and your mind to build economic base and to be strong in your financial wisdom. Of course, I am Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, and I welcome you to Access Wealth Nation. And so, of course, before we get started, I have to give props again. For those of you who are looking, I thought I'd add this in, looking for the opportunity or the chance to be in the financial service industry. There are many types of opportunities out here in the industry, but to be on the retail side, to really help families and be on the mission, our people as a whole, and especially in the African American community in our diaspora here, we are missing people that look like us to teach us how money works. And, that's my mission. No community left behind, and our community must not be left behind. As many of you know, last year we spent over $1.7 trillion, and most of that did not last and stay in our community. So we have to make a change, and it's a conscious change. First and foremost, I'd like to offer you the opportunity to get the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book written by two of my associates. If you'd like the book, all you got to do is send an email to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at Gmail and say you heard Access Wealth Nation and you would like a book. We had a little backlog for a while there, so in a couple of days there's going to be a big push send out of the book. And once you get the book, read the book. And after you read the book, share with the rest of the world what you got out of it, and also share with me How did it touch you? How did it make a difference? And then, of course, you have to act on it, because in the back of the book is something called the discovery call. I'm trying to see if I can bring that up. Maybe not. Yes, the discovery. And what that is that you can fill this out and get a chance to see where you are so that you can figure out where you want to be. See, if you fail to have a plan, then you are planning to fail. So you need a plan, a financial plan. And if you'd like a financial plan, to get a free financial review, you can get a financial analysis. Just call my office, 646-375-2121, 646-375-2121. And so this is a way that we can get together and to build. And I was just in a conference today, and I will say is that we are on a mission to free 1 million households in becoming financially free. It's a serious crusade to embark upon, but I have some serious people with me, because we have gone through too long waiting for us to be financially free when we're giving other people our money, and it shouldn't be. We should be keeping it in our community. And that being said, also, those of you who have remarks or have questions, please feel free to place it in the comment section, and we will be glad to address it. But that being said, what I was saying about the $1.7 trillion that goes across the country, and we don't keep any of it in our community. I want you to think about this, is that there was a place that was called after Booker T. Washington saw it, the Black Wall Street. And I had the honor of receiving the Wall Street Pioneer Award at the 100th anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre. Very serious situation. It was not a celebration. It was an acknowledgement of our ancestors who were brilliant to be able to go out, and after all this segregation, said, we don't need you. I don't need to buy from you. I don't need to receive your services if you're going to make me go to the back of the restaurant or the back of the store or the back of the bus. I don't need to give you my money. And so these brilliant individuals formulated a township in Greenwood, Archer, and Pine in Oklahoma. And what they were able to unmask was 600 businesses and multiple. They had a theater, they had an airport. Yes, this was in the 20s, the early 20s, 1920s, not the 2020, 1920s. Matter of fact, it started in 1918, and they pooled together. They had hotels. It was a township, but the power behind it, even more so, was the fact that $1 spent in the community did not go through spending, it got to circulate. And it circulated for 3 to 5 years. Now, in today's world, in our communities and our own great Black Wall Streets, that dollar does not last in our community more than a day. And I'm being very lenient with that term. It goes immediately into someone else's pocket in another community, and they won't even buy a bottle of water in our community. Shameful. So we have to change our mindset and be conscious of where our money is being spent and utilize it, because it should circulate. We know the possibility. The possibility is that it can last 3 to 5 years, which means that we're buying and trading with each other, just like we did in our other lives and especially in Africa, but specifically, I will say I witnessed it in Ghana, West Africa. And so it is possible. So all we have to do is focus and take all this brilliance that the Creator has given us and the talents that we have and utilize it in our community for our people. I'm not talking about boycotting anybody else's business, but I'm trying to get you, in the words of our dear brother, Sean Rochester, I'm not trying to boycott Black businesses. We need to make sure we buy Black and conscious Black, that when we see that something is not right or we're not getting served properly in our community, by our community, then we don't need to go somewhere else. We need to correct it. We need to make sure that our people understand that we can work amongst ourselves, and that's a cohesive, cold community. And that being said, I had, by having the honor of being at the 100th anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre, I learned a lot, and I got a lot. I met a lot of people, but I got the opportunity and the blessing. And I don't know if you all know, but we have truly a queen mother. Yes, I know many of you might have heard of other folks refer to other people as queen mothers, but there is only one that is in charge of to protect the awesome descendants and the beautiful descendants of those that survived through the transatlantic slave trade. And so it's with my blessing and honor and privilege, God knows I don't have any other words to say other than the greatness, is to bring to you one of our greatest leaders in our community, and that is Queen Mother Blakely. Blessings and welcome. As they say, Aquaba.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And in the spirit of our ancestors, I'm so pleased to be with you again.
Yes, it is
And to
so
just thank the divine energy that you hold within our family. So I thank you for allowing me to embrace you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I feel that. So I don't know that the community knows how great you are, but I know, and you carry so much on your shoulders through these years as being a queen mother and the queen mother of the North Americas. I mean, you are in charge of protecting all of us and all that we have been through. And you are truly a warrior because you have protected us. You have been involved in so much from I knew you from the time I met you, and you helped us with the December 12th movement, making sure that they acknowledged Malcolm X's birthday and rights, and then the African burial site, and it goes on and on and on. I'm going to let you tell your constituents, your family, more about you.
As I stated, in the spirit of our ancestors, it's just an honor to be with the family at this time in my life. And I'm just returning from Africa, being in Goree Island for the historical moment when it was named a national holiday in the United States. But we was there at the slave house in Goree on Juneteenth, celebrating the life of one of our women who turned 60 years old and had never gone to Africa. I think it was very befitting that she went to Africa with Queen Mother, and to hold the space energy with the World Conference of Mayors that invited me to sojourn with them on this journey. Being the Queen Mother of Goree Island, an ambassador of goodwill, and been involved with Goree Island over the years. And one of the things that I asked when the president, before he became the president, had the opportunity of meeting Barack Obama,
Mm.
who was a senator at that time. And lo and behold, who would have ever dreamt or known that he would end up being the president of the United States of America? And when he ran for office, if you know anything about Harlem,
Yes.
we have a tug of war of the party line. And as I would say to them, are we really practicing plantation politics, or do we really understand politics for all of us? And do we understand the two-party system and
Mm.
how we need to agitate everywhere? As Queen Mother Audley Moore would have said, and I was with her for about 20 years of her life.
Wow.
She brought me to her side, also as our oldest Queen Mother in the United States, and she lived to be almost 100 years old. So
Yes.
being engaged in and watching her agitate, Queen Mother was an agitator. She agitated everywhere, and the word is reparations. And she said to me, honey, from 142nd Street, near City College where I lived, and been a homesteader almost 40 some years,
Awesome.
and sweat equity and understanding what it means to be bound to your own kind and be bound to your own people. When I say your own kind, that is the soul energy. So Queen Mother questioned, what does our spiritual leaders look like if it's soul energy? And so definitely being the Queen Mother of hip hop, I was able to roll out in my reflections during the coronavirus, which is the pandemic, COVID-19 that is going on since 2020, and speaking about this quest of this issue of our soul energy after being a Roman Catholic nun for 10 years, and I made final vows. And I will never forget a man that walked the streets of Harlem, and Dr. Lawrence Lucas,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
lived on my block at the end of his days. And you know that he also, being a priest in Harlem, born in Harlem, and then living in Rikers Island. So as we would have conversations outside of my door of my home and across the street at the rectory of the Catholic Church, we would talk about his divine mission and understanding of the soul energy. And if you knew anything about him, All Saints, where he was for many years, everybody in the church, the Catholic Church that is,
Mm-hmm.
was Black. All his images of the spiritual soul energy reflected us. And that is the highest form of reverence for any people in the world. If you go to any nation in the world, you would see that played out. Who are the spiritual leaders and what do they look like? Who do they really reverence in their lives and hold in a special energy of life? They look like him. And
Mm-hmm.
so Queen Mother wanted to have that reflection. After listening to Father Lucas, Black is beautiful. We say that, but I gave my reflection of what is Black is beautiful to me and my family spiritually. So I believe in the Black Jesus, the blue Black Jesus, and I
Mm-hmm.
have written about him in the spoken word in one of my books that is coming out shortly called Reflections. And as the Queen Mother of hip hop, it is the spoken words for me. So that's where Queen Mother is now in her life, being a Roman Catholic nun for 10 years, made final vows. And at the age of 16, I entered, but the request for religious was at the age around 12. 12, 13, and 14, children do form their own lives in a strange kind of rhythm of life. But even younger than that, I used to sing because I wanted to be like Marian Anderson. So I do have a voice. And having that voice, it was nurtured very early in the church. And the women would say, which is the deaconess would say, Amen. So when they said amen and listening to me sing as a child growing up in the church, then I knew I could sing because they made it clear to me as a young child that I could sing. And I used to just mimic Marian Anderson on radio and to listen to her records. And I began to sing like her at a very early age. So I do have a gift, a voice. So Sister Right comes out of my life, of which I wrote about my life as a nun for 10 years and then leaving the convent. The question is always asked, why did you leave?
Yes.
I left because the field became very crowded for me. If you entered at the age of 16, by the time I had reached the age 26, and this is the harsh training or the hard training or the discipline training that one goes through in becoming a nun. And they do not take that lightly when you say you want to be a nun.
Mm-hmm.
That is saying that you want to be the Blessed Virgin Mary. And there's many women who wants to emulate the Blessed Virgin Mary. And so with me, I wanted to emulate, basically it was God, Jesus. And my family were not Catholic. So you must read about me in my book, The Sister, the Harlem Street Nun. You must read about my life. And I talk about that experience as an early child who came from a family that was non-Catholic,
Catholic.
and non-Catholicism was spoken in my home. I knew nothing about Catholicism. But when I was invited in doing a paper, well, one of my classmates who happened to have been Catholic, I followed him to the Catholic Church, and I fell in love with the Catholic Church because they would ring a bell, very musical,
Yes.
and they would light candles, which I thought was just so marvelous and beautiful. And then you hear some singing, and with the singing, and I always thought that I could sing better than the Monsignor or the priest.
Yes.
So there was great opportunities for me as a child in the Catholic Church. And so I forged in that direction against all of the odds against me, being a little Black girl living in the deep South of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the Gator town, and knowing about the indigenous people, the Seminole Indians, which I love them, are people in the grass, huckleberries. They would pick huckleberries and watch a child being born in a tent. And that was something that I adored. And I said I wanted to be a doctor because I found life in with the Seminole Indians giving birth. And so my life as a child has been a very rich life. And then come into a big place called New York City. You could imagine, from a beach and a gator girl from the Atlantic Ocean, where the young people go to play during the season of school out. The students are all over Miami and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So being a Florida girl of sunlight and the sea sits in front of me, you could imagine how I enjoyed the beach world. and the entertainment of the world coming to a place called Florida, and especially Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Dale Beach, and Hollywood, and Miami. And so these are a few of the little counties that I grew up and around all sorts of people. But again, a woman of the sea. So my life was built on a woman of the sea. So you can imagine coming to New York to be a Roman Catholic nun and a big place coming here alone. You could imagine that story. So I'm asking you to get my book and read about that story.
Yes,
The
definitely.
Harlem Street Nun.
It is so important to hear your life story. And in many ways, I have to share with you, my life too parallels a lot that your journey. I started out, but my family was Catholic, but I got the ability to meet Father Lucas. As a matter of fact, I was 11 years old, and I'm a student of St. Anthony of Padua School in the Bronx, and we went for what was called the Black Liturgy. And we didn't know what we were getting into, but we baked unleavened bread, and we had bitters. But when we got to that church, it was an eye opener because, as you said, it shows the true Jesus, the true Holy Family. It showed us as our great sheroes and heroes were up on the wall. And as a young girl, being 11 years old and being in the Catholic Church for so long, I too thought I wanted to become a nun, but the world and the Creator took me another route, took me for a loop. But the thing is that the beauty in seeing, Dr. John Henry Clark said it so well. It's when your God looks like you, then therefore you know how the God is within you. But when your God looks like somebody else, then you wind up fearing and worshiping someone who is not even as great as you are. So it is a lesson to be learned, but definitely I implore everyone to go and get Queen Mother's book on her life, The Harlem Street Nun. This is a story to read and understand, and to know that this phenomenal Queen Mother has stood for us. And now, as we were at Black Wall Street, commemorating the Black Wall Street massacre, Queen Mother, you can tell them that the reparations is coming because we heard it. Yes, that's us standing there and getting the opportunity to hear what is really due us as a down payment. I got it. We got a down payment. And that down payment is not a little bit. It is, but it is a little bit when you think about how much we spend, the trillions of dollars that we spend out here, and what has happened to our ancestors. So I say to you, what is that number, Queen Mother, that we are getting the down payment for?
Well, in advocating for the down payment, which I told Queen Mother Audley Moore as she asked me, would I continue reparation? And she said, honey, go with reparation. They owe you. They owe you for the greatest crime ever committed against you. So I vowed, just like I did in the Catholic Church, to Queen Mother Audley Moore, to the race of our people, my people, of reparation, that I would carry that on. But I made it clear to her I would have to do it where I am at. And that was at the United Nations. And I've been at the United Nations now for going on 52 years, 52 years
Awesome.
as a humanitarian. And I believe that it was important that some of us would be anchored there in the world community and to drive our issues forward and be an agitator. So being an agitator is something very good once you take it as a part of craft. You craft like you craft everything else. And you learn the joggings and the movement that you need to have to be an agitator. So I learned to sharpen my skills in the diplomatic community amongst member states of the world, which is countries of the world, agitation. And sometimes they may not hear. And I said, it is my duty to bring into their conscious issues that they must listen to. And that means you must do it 24/7.
Yes.
There is no end to it. And so, in doing it over a period of many years, my voice eventually was heard. And it's recorded in history at the United Nations. As I said to the world community, as a spook who sit by the door and decisions are constantly being made for us, I said that you must hear that there is a damage that have been done, a crime committed against a group of people, and seem like the world is not articulating it or addressing it. And so that means, as the Queen Mother, I must address it since I've been the Queen Mother for over 25 years to be heard as a traditional ruler from Ghana, West Africa, of being a Queen Mother. And the oldest Queen Mother, bless me, who now is an ancestor of the Shanti Kingdom in Ghana, West Africa, and where the king sent me to his mother in the palace where she blessed me in my reign. And I believe as a traditional ruler, you must speak truth to power and power to truth in all of this form for the masses of the poor and the powerless that will never have the opportunity to walk in my shoes and do what I must do. But that is a commitment, and it is a dedication, and it is my divine duty to protect them and whatever circle I must appear in. Being in the world community, I began to address the issue of reparation that the world owes us, the 55 million displaced Africans of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade.
Yes.
And so, in agitating, and the number that I would drop for all the world to hear is $3 trillion. So it is recorded as a down payment. And they can never pay us, as I said, for me, even if the rest of the descendants, I don't know what they want yet. But when it comes down for them telling you what they want, then it should be added. And seeing like a number is going around right now of over 16 or 14 to 16 trillion dollars. Now it may go up and it should go up as you continue to ask the masses. But a down payment for Queen Mother of the $3 trillion, and it's only a down payment. And with that down payment, then I could forge and continue the work for the young people, the healing, the transformation, the DNA, the training, and the of having the right to return home to the soil of Mother Africa. And the way from me is a place called Goree Island. I've been involved for Goree for almost 30 years. And so that is the gateway throughout Mother Africa, in spite of spending 3 days and 3 nights in the dungeon. Some say it's the Cape Coast Castle. I don't know how we can get it to be a castle for us. I saw it and smelled the stench as a dungeon for 3 days and 3 nights. And thanks to Mama Rollins, we know that her husband, Jerry Rollins, is now an ancestor. But she was the one that stood with the African descendants when I arrived in 1994. As I cried and grabbed onto her, and the ancestors snatched me instead of going to Nelson Mandela inauguration in South Africa. I ended up being in a place called Ghana because I couldn't get out. And because I couldn't get out, the only thing you can do, submit yourself to divine one, to that name greater than yourself, God, Allah, Jesus, whatever name that may be. As some of us would say, heavy, heavy, heavy. And so with heavy, 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 and that divine force, I had to submit myself to the slave house in the Cape Coast for 3 days and 3 nights. And with that strength of coming out of there, of the third day of daybreak, and having the opportunity to see life again and to focus on where I must continue to agitate at the United Nations and in the world community is the word reparations. And as I said, that word came from one of our elders who lived to be almost 100 years old. She slept and ate the word reparation. Queen Mother Audley Moore. She brought me to her side for about 20 years. So I learned a great deal about Queen Mother and her way of life. And coming from New Iberia, Louisiana, she was a Catholic because they have parishes.
Yes.
That's the language of the Catholic Church. And so I think that's why she held on to me. She held on to me for another reason, when she told me about lying in the bed in Lusaka. And the story she gave to me as an elder, she said, honey, look at your features. And as a child, my features were very ugly in growing up, with a big nose, broad lips, high cheekbones, big eyes. And the world saw me as being ugly as a child growing up. But my father said to me, beauty is within, little princess. Beauty is within. So my dad stopped me from crying about what I looked like and being depicted. And in finding my way into the Nile in the 80s, where Queen Hatshepsut, the great queen that ruled as you know, greater than a woman, but as a man, as a pharaoh. Women was not able to rule in those days. So as a pharaoh, they began to call me in the streets, and they gave me my katus, which is Queen Hatshepsut, the great queen who ruled in the Nile. And the Egyptians are the ones who gave me who I was. And I cried like a newborn baby at the sea and at the Nile. And I went to visit her in the Nile and prayed to my ancestor. So I have the spirit of Queen Hatshepsut, the Pharaoh, the Black Pharaoh who ruled. And so that is the energy that I come before my family. And as I travel around the world of the continent, Mother Africa, I wanted to eat it all at one time. So I studied Africa, especially Tanzania, thanks to Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the first Baba, the first leader of Tanzania, who adopted me as his daughter. And so the seed of a father claims you. That's all you need, is the seed of a father. And so he claimed me as his daughter. So claiming me, I studied him, and I received my doctorate degree in African traditional socialism and anthropology at the university you all know in Harlem is Columbia University. It sits in my front yard of Harlem. And so that's where I received my doctorate. I also had the opportunity of going to Harvard for master's, and MIT because I wanted to study the great science and what is the role of us in the culture and the tradition of science. When you say that we build the spirit, the Sphinx and the pyramids, what more do you want from us? What more? So having a god brother who was an astronaut, Ron McNair, what more he could be but an astronaut coming from the deep south. It was in his gene pool. So for greatness of African descendants to till the soil and to be able to go into the dust and the rise of space, it is in our genes. So I
you are speaking.
know that they can achieve. They can achieve, move forward, discipline yourselves and train yourselves at every corner because learning takes place all day long. Queen Mother reaching the age of 80, but I'm still learning.
And that's the power, Queen Mother, I want to share with you. I have had the blessing of also returning back to home, to ancient Kemet. And my experience was given to me also to carry the spirit of our Queen, King, Queen Hatshepsut.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh my
interesting
goodness.
because my brother Matt is carrying Tutmosis. So
Oh,
her brother.
oh
And
my.
and so the energy is here. It is a time for us to receive reparations. In my mindset, when you mention reparations, I know there's what they call Federal Reserve note amount, but also in my mindset and in my spirit, when I left Tulsa, the spirit spoke to me and said, outside of, and there we are, and that's when you bestowed upon me the card to open up the door so that I may be able to handle so this money and these assets, because not necessarily it's always going to be Federal Reserve notes. It may be land, because land is more valuable than even the Federal Reserve notes because they can change on you.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea, and what is your thoughts there, since they have this country has allowed so much to happen to us, and not only here but across the world. We were separated, but I'm thinking now is that maybe we should consider the land being returned to us. In Black Wall Street in Greenwood, I'm reading a book now. Let me see if I can lean over a little bit and get the book. Um, the only book that is written by a survivor, which is The Events of Tulsa's Disaster, Mary E. Jones Parrish. And I went to a place while we were in Tulsa called the Center for Public Secrets. Go figure, right? They're going to keep their, and it showed the orchestrators or the architects of the destruction of Black Wall Street. The plan was to take the land. When we think of all of the elements across the world, and especially here in the United States, they've always taken our land. Our Native American brothers and sisters, they've taken their land. And Tulsa was about oil. Our Native Americans, all of our brothers and sisters, all of the people, because really we're all linked together. It's always been about the land and their power taking the land. I think it's time for them to give back the land. And then I have a plan. So we're going to get together. And first of all, I got to say it. As beautiful as that face is, I'd like to slap somebody who says something about ugly. Okay. I'm looking at that face. It's glowing. It's beautiful. It's angelic. So that's what I think. But thinking about the land, my thought is give us back the land. We don't pay any real estate tax because they're going to try to take that from us. And now give us the down payment of the $3 trillion so that we can sustain and build our communities back. What do you think about that idea?
That is in divine order. In Tulsa, at the 100th anniversary of the massacre, and we were there.
Yes.
And with me having the opportunity to see Mama Fletcher, who's 107 years old, and her brother, which is 100 years old, Uncle Red,
Yes.
and the other auntie or grandmother, I think she's 103 or 5.
Yeah, she was 103.
And so with the three of them on a wagon, a buggy, horse and buggy, I would say, and the spirit moved me. I wanted to be there early and with no really schedule to what was really going on in Tulsa. And I wanted to land in Tulsa. I didn't want to go to Oklahoma City. I wanted to get as close as I could to this energy of my ancestors. And I had the opportunity of living on Greenwood, less than 2.5 blocks from Black Wall Street. So I was able to take my morning walk in the district of Greenwood where the massacre took place.
Yes.
And destroyed their businesses and their homes. And in saying that, I went to the Trail of Tears.
Yes.
And I had the opportunity to be involved with some of my brothers and sisters, or the indigenous of the land, the Native Americans. And not only at the United Nations, but had the repertoire years ago at the UN in the 80s to go to Black Mesa, which I was a part of that delegation in Arizona for the repertoire of Geneva of the United Nations was present on the mountain. So I have slid across the mountain for Hopi to Navajo and the Dene people. But being a part of them in Tulsa, and when they bestowed on me one of the greatest honors of my life is now I am a grandmother. I am a grandmother. I am Greasewood Woman, the stump that I was named by Little John years ago. And so with the bond and the partnership relationship with African descendants, we are family. And been able to take the cape that was given to me, a part of their ceremony to me at the Trail of Tears, the holy and sacred space in Tulsa. I will never forget that. But being humble enough to accept, because sometimes it's very difficult to accept when you're being bestowed such certain honors and certain positions and state in life. And so it was by surprise this happened to me. And then I was able to take that cape to the shores of Mother Africa and to thank the Native Americans, the Cherokee Nation, a part of my family, of being a part of my life, but to renew during the 100th anniversary of a relationship. What a bond. And so Red Horse, someone I've known over the years, called me out of the blue. That is the spirit of Mother God. Mother God, is she something else?
She is.
And with Mother God having that energy bestowed upon me on the phone, Red Horse, and telling him about the property in Harlem, I'm on the estate of Alexander Hamilton Grange, estate, which this is his farmland in Harlem near City College.
Yes.
I live on his farmland. I live on his estate for over 40 years as a homesteader for women and children in need, not greed, but need. Understood. To be on this land. And to be here when you think of Wall Street, which the young people was forging the noise on Wall Street, and for them to come to Harlem to be with me to help to sustain me against predatory lending and mortgage fraud.
Yes.
The word got out that they going after Queen Mother as a homesteader and one who's done sweat equity in Harlem. And yes, I didn't know all of the rules and regulation to homesteading. I had been in a Roman Catholic convent, so I was not looking for a home or dreaming about I'm going to ever have land in my lifetime. But now I do. I sit on land as an indigenous woman as of 2021 been renewed. And
Excellent.
Red Horse has tied up the land where I sit with the building. It's going nowhere because of the divine light. And being an elder, I must fight. I must decide what battles I will take on. And I would take on the battle of shelter. Everyone has a right to shelter.
Yes.
There should be no homelessness. Everyone should have cover from the elements of life if we do right toward the elements of life, the cover and protection. And everyone should have a right to eat.
That's right. Those are natural rights.
And these are human rights.
There you go.
And so Queen Mother is into that energy of agitating. So I am an official, an agitator for about 60 years. So with Queen Mother agitating, and legacies must be passed on for children yet not born. So our youth should not be struggling and suffering. Other groups do not allow it in the culture. So we cannot allow that as a traditional ruler. It is my duty. So to hear of some of the elders are going home to Ghana because they said they wanted to go to Africa once I gave them the gift of the crown that I'm wearing on my head, the kente cloth.
Yes.
My shawl I gave to them as a gift from my royal court of Harlem and North America for the 55 million displaced Africans of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade. And to see the three of them over 100 years old looking at me and talking to me at the same time in the procession before they took off is still a mystery to me. Why was I chosen to just bring about Queen Mother and talked about the gift and about the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade, and then with Mama Fletcher saying, I want to go to Africa. And the world has heard it, but it's the gift that we gave them from all of us for them to return home. So that's the divine path that our elders have asked us to do in the spirit of Queen Mother Arlemo. Honey, go get your money. Stop talking about it. Go get it.
What was that? Mother, what's your statement?
Go get your money. And I have said we don't need no more speeches from my dearly beloved President Joe Biden.
Yes.
Anyone else that is under him that want to talk about it, just cut the check.
There we go.
Come to Pennsylvania Avenue and pick it up. He don't even have to come to Harlem to bring it.
Oh no, I'll come get you and drive you there.
And you know that I'm going to need you there with me because you are the financial director and president of the $3 trillion or the 16 trillion as a down payment. And since you have done the work, it's now cut the check. We know what to do. We don't need no guidance from no one from your divisions, whatever those divisions are. But let us take what is owed us. This is a debt you need to pay. And the world will never be right until they pay the debt to us.
That's it.
So as an agitator, and as I said to our Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee. I call on her as the chair of reparation. Cut the check.
That's it.
And all of the Congressional Black Caucus and all of the other congressional members, male and female, and I don't care what party they belong to. I'm not interested in y'all parties because all of you in the same party at the end of the day. And so I'm saying to all of you from the right to the left, cut the check. Cut the check for the greatest crime committed against the people, the African descendants. Just go on now and cut the check.
Yes, we're going to go pick up this check. It's time. It's
Yes.
time for us to do that.
Yes.
I would ask you, for our young people, what message do you have for them outside of the fact that, okay, number one, I keep seeing it coming up. We got to tell folks. Queen Mother is also the mayor of Harlem. So she is the representative, not only, she's got the nation, she's got the world, and then she's got even, you know how they say God takes care of the little bitty babies. Well, the little bitty baby is Harlem. That's one of the smaller Black Wall Streets, because there was 27 Black Wall Streets in this country of where we supported ourselves. So she is also overseeing the township of Harlem. And what she said is that, which is true, that land sake is so important in Harlem. They've been trying to take it away from us forever. But to the young people who are thinking that everything's okay, we don't have to do nothing, kumbaya. Queen Mother, teach them, give them those golden words of what they need to do, because once we get the check, we've got to be able to protect it. Of course, I know those ways to do that, but also we must continue the legacy, and they must understand that legacy. So what words do you have for them?
As you know, young people, and if you don't know, I'm going to put you in the know. I'm the Queen Mother of hip hop, Kool Herc, and the rest of KS1 and the others. My prayers go out to Kool Herc. He lost his mother in the midst of my travel to Senegal, to Goree Island just recently. And so I know that he's still, as the grandfather of hip hop, and Sydney, his sister, I give a shout out to them before I left. And I know that they are going to be a part of this journey of us returning home. I say to you, young people, allow us to integrate with you. The old can learn from you, because I don't know everything and I never will. I can learn from you as the hip hop Queen Mother. Zulu Nation gave me my title at Barbara Antier Spot, the Black Theater in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave me my sneakers, one of a kind. My sneakers, and I have them. Graffiti is everywhere on them by the king of graffiti. So Queen Mother has been ready, and I constantly work with you. If you allow me to intergenerational relationship, I can learn from you and you could learn from me. That's step number one. Number two, I want you to care for me, myself, and I. I want you to care for me, myself, and I with a big hug. Love yourself. care for yourself, nourish yourself. If no one else would do it for you, and if you're clothed in your right mind, you know right from wrong. That is not a conversation we need to have with each other. Likes, likes. In the innate gifts that you are born with, you're born with gifts and talents that no one can take away from you or snatch from you. So I leave no excuses for you, not based on your limited experiences of life. And you took what you had and boogied down in the Bronx and came up with hip hop that's all over the planet Earth. As I've gone through the world, they couldn't even speak English, but they was hipping and a hopping though, and they was a cutting, cussing and a swearing. And I'm saying, Lord, can my children use some more language? Can they train themselves in school and outside? And I'm saying all education is not inside. Learning also is outside. Now you're on the super highway. Now you're on the super highway and you tweeting everybody and doing whatever you do and all you think you need to do, but use the tool well. You have the gift that has been given to you, and use it, because the wealth of knowledge and understanding you have like no other group. No other group has been so endowed with everything. With everything. And I'm asking you, young people, use it for the betterment of not only your life, but for your family and for your community. You don't have no time to run down your brothers and sisters. And if you're going to run them down, you're going to run them down with love and compassion. That's the only kind of running down you're going to do. So if you hear Queen Mother say she's going to run somebody down, it's going to be with a whole lot of love and a whole lot of sharing. So I'm asking you, for God's sake, that's the highest form of worship for me. I ask in that greater being of you to take that in consideration. And I'm going to appeal to my daughters. You know, we talk about mama, baby, baby, daddy, baby, mama, baby, whatever, 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 whatever. You talking about life. And when I see you in the street, the fathers with their children in the carriage, I usually speak to you like I did for Cool J. Cool J at a soul food restaurant on 125th Street one time. He was in the restaurant and I didn't know nothing about no Cool J. Who is Cool J? And LL Cool J, and everybody standing around trying to get a peep at LL Cool J. And I went on in the restaurant to get my sweet potato pie and some collard greens to leave out of there. And I'm saying, well, that's the man, I guess, is LL Cool J. Let me sit down and get to know more about him as he hold his court, as he holding my court, and audience with others coming in and out like they're asking for a deal. And finally, this young man got off the stool as I'm sitting at the table, and he said hi to me, and I say, hi, who are you? And then I find out through his wife, the table I'm sitting next to with babies in arms, his children. And he saw me as a great aunt in the restaurant. And I will never forget that relationship with him for a few moments, speaking to his heart. And then going to Africa for the hip hop at the conference, the World Festival of Black Arts and Culture in 2010, where the hip hoppers were able to talk about that journey of the culture and their first trip to Mother Africa. I want all of you to prepare yourself and begin to train yourself for the ways of returning home, if it's only for 1 week. And if you really got to cut the mustard, why don't we say for 4 days? You can go to Senegal 7.5 hours while you're trying to get to California or wherever else you're trying to get around the United States. And you could go on a Thursday and be back on a Monday. So you don't lose anything in terms of traveling to Mother Africa. And I'm sure you saw the space shuttles go up in the last 9 days. Well, I have seen with the naked eye a space shuttle that went up and down by Ron McNair, my god brother, one of the astronauts, the second astronaut into space. And you know, the second time he went up, exploration took place and they all perished. So he's still in space.
Yeah.
Meaning that he died, but he's in space. But he died in something that he loved. He loved space, being out of space. We talked about it at MIT, where I became a Fulbrighter at MIT and a Fulbright scholar to Mother Africa. So I'm saying to you, the gifts that God has given you, harvest your gift and perfect them to the finest tools that you never seen before. If you're going to compete with each other, compete with your talents and abilities and your gift, and share with each other. What I don't know, share with me. Will you please do that for Queen Mother? And if you need Queen Mother, just hit me. Hit me up. You know what I mean when I say hit me. Hit me up. Get my email, newfuturephotos@gmail.com. But when you talk to me, I want you to stretch your language. I want you to stretch yourself to me and tell me about yourself and read about me. You know, hit Queen Mother up. Come on now. There's no excuse. You don't know nothing about your grandma and your granddaddy and your extended family, whether your daddy was in the house or not. We ain't got no time with that monkey business. The monkey play is over. Okay, you too sophisticated and you too great. And once you understand who you are, there will be no pity party. And so I'm saying to you, young people, come on now. I'm waiting for you. And you could do it. You could do it with a little guidance and a little advice. I'm here to rock your world with you. But we are here to support you and pass the legacy on to you. I wish all of you well in doing so. And stay on the sacred path of life. Don't you dare get off of it. Don't you dare. And as one of the elders said to me at the age of 110, Imelda Boynton, who lived in Selma, Alabama, and Tuskegee, and I used to spend time with her. And she says, like someone said in the meeting, I'm on your shoulder. She said, get off my shoulder and get on your own shoulder and stand there on your shoulder. So since you have these broad shoulders, I ask you to remember, life is health. Health is life, and life is godly. So stay on the sacred path of life and find Queen Mother. You can find me because I'm not lost. So find Queen Mother, and blessings upon all of you young people. Training, education. Look up the word formal and informal education to better your lives so you can better your communities and let your community be holistic in caring for it. Care for us. So as an elder, I'm expecting to live a long, fruitful life. I want you to just cuddle me with a lot of love and care and tell me many stories. So I can't wait to see you in the role of leadership in your community where you live. Yes, I'm the community mayor of Harlem until I decide to step down, and nobody gonna vote me out. So don't let anybody tell you that either. I am the community mayor of Harlem until I decide to leave the legacy to some of you great young people. I expect greatness from you and sustainable and economic development for your community. So what's up?
I
What's up,
love
y'all?
it.
I'm waiting. So
I
what?
love it.
Okay, Queen Mother is waiting for you. And I am the Queen Mother of hip hop. Hip hop.
Well, you
No,
are truly our
no.
Queen Mother, and I am so thankful and honored. This has been a wonderful experience. I look forward to having you back on when they have cut the check, and we get. I love it. You ought to see on Facebook. I'm looking at some of the people, and people are clicking. They're saying, "Cut the check."
Cut the check.
Cut the check.
Cut the check. That's all we want to hear from anybody. So anybody want to put it to music, a sound, a rap, Queen Mother is waiting. Cut
There
the
we go.
check.
Cut
Come
the
on, let's give me the beat. I am
That's
ready and waiting for you. The word is cut the check.
Got it. And so we're closing out. I just appreciate you so much. I love you so much. I had the graces of meeting Queen Mother Moore, but I didn't get to interact. I get the opportunity to interact and work with you. I have heaven, heaven here on earth. And so, Queen Mother, I thank you so much for spending this time with us on Access Wealth Nation. We have, of course, people have talked about your book. They're saying it's on Amazon. Go get it. There's a new book coming out, and I want you to, yes, please.
This one is out too. It's a big one. It is a table copy, and I didn't do a hardback because I didn't want you to risk your spine carrying Queen Mother book. So it's a paper book, but it's heavy. It's the Queen Mother of Gory Island, a part of my life. It's on Amazon as well. And then the one that will be out probably in a few days, which I have the copy of it already, is called Reflections, during COVID-19, Reflections of my thoughts spiritually during this time. And I decide to write about it. And I give a shout out to one of my sponsors. Well, there's quite a few that I give thanks to in the book, and Fortune Empire, which they took Queen Mother to Wall Street. And I raised a lot of questions with them. They got to change the norm for Queen Mother to be engaged and involved through the United Nations. So there again, we're going to partnership once we receive our funds of cutting the check of the $3 trillion down payment. Yes. And I am looking forward to you, dearly beloved, Dr. Woodhouse.
Yes.
To take care, Queen Mother, cut the check.
So honored, and definitely. So we are going to close out today. Thank you again, Queen Mother. You know, as they say in Kwampin, they say Madase P. And so thank you, great thank you. And again, we will definitely get together. I hope you all learned something. The best way to learn is get out there and get involved. And again, help Queen Mother in every endeavor. Bring your talent, as she said. And I'm bringing mine. I'm looking forward to it. So you have a blessed night. Thank you so much for your time. We went a little bit over. I hope that didn't cause you any problems, but I just had to have you as much as I can.
Bless you.
Okay, so have a good night. And thank you all for listening to Access Wealth Nation, and be at peace.
Thank you.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men wasn't the same. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.